Kinnawa, the African Thunder,
is in the house.
Hello and welcome to another broadcast of Thunder News HD. My name is Kinnawa, the African Thunder, and I'm here with a man of high caliber, a man of excellence, and most of all, a man of service. I'm here with brother Martin Luther King III. It's a pleasure to have you here, sir, and an honor to interview you, sir.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Absolutely. So I have just a few questions. I know you just read, you had an open reading about your book. And what was it like, being the son of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.?
Most of my life has been very rewarding and very positive because my father and others opened doors that can never be closed. Mm-hmm. And although we're in a political era where it seems like we're going backward, the universe moves forward. It's not going to go back. There may be some setbacks and slowdowns, but it's not going to, the universe continues to turn. So as a child, my mother sheltered us to some degree from a lot of the dangers, or as many as she could. There were times when we would listen on the phone, pick up the phone, and voices would be talking in a very negative way, using the N-word and other things derogatory toward our family. But for the most part, I was shielded from that. And in fact, most of the places I went, people always seemed to have admired the family for what Dad and his team and my mom and her team did throughout their lives. So it has really been quite incredible.
Absolutely. So did you ever feel any pressure having to, follow in those footsteps, or maybe in your next steps that you wanted to take?
Well, certainly there was always some element of pressure. I never chose to focus on the burden part of what it's like to carry such a very significant and important name. I always felt that it was a blessing, and that my hope was that I would be able to help bless others by lending my voice to various causes, which we've done over the years. And so when I look at where we are today in the United States of America, and where African Americans and black people are just in general, I realize there's still a lot of work to be done to create the beloved community. And that community is something my father preached about. But in that community, it wasn't about color or race. It was about the human family coming together to make the nation and world better for all of God's children.
Absolutely. And seeing, of course, the social issues that has arisen over this time, over these past few months, years, especially not only within the world, but within our nation. Do you still feel like there are still ways that we can actually help, we can give back to the community? Is there some ways that we can still fix things?
There's absolutely many ways that we can fix as well as give back. There will always be not just a reason to give back, but there will always be a need to give back to the community. Particularly, there's a saying that goes, to him or her that much is given, of him or her is much required. And what that means is for any of us who have been blessed, whether it's with some resources, whether it's with a talent, we have a responsibility to reach back and lift up others. And so when we look at communities of color, particularly where there's incredible violence, where there are significant drug activity, where there's little opportunity, what we've got to do is find ways to create the climate where all boats can be lifted up. Mm-hmm. In other words, in the dark, a lot of things can take place. But once you turn on the light, it's just like roaches, they start running. Mm-hmm. So we have to be the light that connects and opens those doors, creating an opportunity, whether it's in housing and education and entrepreneurship, to create jobs.
Absolutely. You are making my job too easy. So I have one more question. What advice do you have for anybody, like mainly young African American males, females, any type of role models, people who want to make a change, people who want to make a difference, what advice do you have for them in order to see the change that they want to see in the world?
Well, number one, I don't know that any of us can create change alone. We can be change agents, but I think we have to identify like-minded organizations, and there are a lot of them out there now, and connect with those organizations on the area we're interested in. For example, if we're interested in the environment, which is of utmost importance, because if the water is polluted or contaminated, the air is contaminated, I mean, we're done. You know, our bodies are 80% water. So environmental issues, there are many organizations that people can get involved with so that they can fulfill their dreams by working with a large collective. You can use your voice and get certain places, but it's important to, I believe, build coalitions. If you're interested in eradication of poverty, then you need to think about how can I become an entrepreneur to help create jobs in this community so the development can take place. If you're interested in learning about nonviolence, then we are eminently prepared to teach you Kingian nonviolence. It just depends on what your interest is. There's so many options out there today, and it's easy to access it because of this tool called the internet. But I want to encourage people to live and fulfill their dreams, because dreams can become a reality.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, Brother King, you are amazing. I've loved your work. I've been watching you for a minute. And, of course, I'm just looking forward to see what are your next steps as well. Thank you again, everyone, for tuning in to, of course, another Thunder News HD broadcast. And, of course, thank you. We'll see you again soon.
Play what's good. God, please bless my bag. Louis V Supreme, no collab. Chicken and finessing on the slab. I guess that's why I got I'm looking today. I guess that's why I got I'm looking today. Cause the Lord done bless my bag.